Yo, Jets Nation. Welcome in to the channel. My name is Richie, live from Alabama right now. Okay, that's where I'm at. And today was a monumental day in Jets history. And I missed it. Just kidding. I watched it all, of course. But I traveled this morning, flew from New York down here to Mobile, Alabama, as I'm covering the Senior Bowl. Got the credentials. Your boys hooked up, courtesy of Roundtable Sports. But today was a monumental day in Jets history, and I'm finally able to sit down and talk about it. I'm excited about it. Big shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this show, as always. I'm excited, man, because AG fired me up. He fired me up. First time we get to hear from Aaron Glenn. First time we get to hear from Darren Mougey, our brand new head coach and our brand new brand new general manager, bro. All right, we're going to have a special guest on this show. And the special guest that's going to come on is going to be a Detroit Lions creator himself. He is the Detroit Lions representative of Roundtable Sports. And the reason why that's important is because he knows Aaron Glenn, and I'm excited to get his insight of Aaron Glenn. All right, so big time shout out to everybody in the chat. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Also, audio check. How does the audio sound? Because we got a brand new mic. We got the on-site Roundtable Sports microphone, so hopefully it's sounding good. I know that the music is blasting right now in your ears because I'm hyped up. This is the hype music. I only play this music in the beginning of these shows when I'm excited about something, because we're the freaking New York Jets and we're built for this shit. Ooh, mic drop. Not my words. That was Aaron Glenn's words, all right? So let's get straight into it, bro. Let's get straight into business, because what we just heard from Aaron Glenn today is something that Jets fans have been waiting to hear for a long time. And I do want to say this. A press conference is not going to win you games. A press conference is not going to make you a successful organization. We've seen good press conferences. We've seen bad press conferences. Nick Sirianni, for example, had an awful press conference. This guy's been to 2 Super Bowls, right? So you can't really evaluate press conferences. Adam Gase's press conference was abysmal. We all knew he was a joke from the beginning. Robert Saleh's press conference, it was good, but it didn't move Jets fans like this one. This one from Aaron Glenn was different. And the reason why it's different is because he oozed with confidence. I have never seen a man more confident in my life represent the New York Jets as the head coach position. I mean, that is ridiculous. I've never seen somebody do the way that he did it in a confident way. We're going to break it all down. For those guys that don't know where I am in an Airbnb. We got a content house down in Mobile, Alabama, a Roundtable Sports content house. It's me, Dan Mitchell, Colby from Patriots Global, and Dose of Dion, the Detroit Lions creator on YouTube, who is also the NFC North creator for the Detroit Lions. So it's all of us in the house. We got Dan Mitchell, Colby, and Dose of Dion. All right, so that's where I am. If you're wondering, not home, obviously. So let's get straight into business, because I gotta play the clip. Aaron Glenn, man, you fire me up, because what he did was remind us Jets fans why he took the job, right? This is somebody that Jets fans have been waiting for a long time, because what did we hear from the media before we hired our head coach, right? When there was all these articles about Woody Johnson coming out, the Jets are dysfunctional, we're a mess, nobody wants to be a Jet. All we heard was nobody's going to want to work under Woody Johnson. No one's going to want to be the coach of this team after seeing all these articles. Well, I'm here to tell you, Aaron Glenn wanted this job, and he confirmed it. He said it was always the Jets. It's a homecoming story, bro. That's the best part about this. This is someone that started his NFL journey with the New York Jets as a player, getting drafted here in 1994, becoming a household name. He was part of a turnaround, which is important as a player, was part of the Rich Kotite 1-15 team. And then Bill Parcells comes in here and changes the outlook, goes 9-7, and then they go to the AFC Championship game, I believe, the year after. So I'm here to tell you guys that Aaron Glenn is living proof of a player that knows what it takes to take you from the bottom up to the top. And he also has experience of doing it as a coach. Did it with the New Orleans Saints, Detroit Lions, and now here with the New York Jets. He spoke with confidence. He spoke with poise. He has a direct motive, which is really, really exciting. All right, so let's get into it. So I want to pull up some of the clips that I've also never seen somebody so confident to the media Also, I want to speak on Darren Mougey. Darren Mougey was impressive to me. Darren Mougey definitely was impressive to me too. He was cool. He was calm. He had a direct motive. He had a good communicator to kind of say exactly his vision. He's lockstep with Aaron Glenn. His story about him and AG that went back to 2 years ago when the Broncos interviewed Aaron Glenn to be their head coach, to hear that story was pretty cool. They go back, and the fact that they share the same vision is awesome. It really, really is. So folks, don't forget to hit the like button, please, right now. Don't forget, hit the like button right now if you're just tuning in on YouTube, or if you're on Twitter, retweet it, baby. Retweet it. All right, let's get it. Let's get straight into it. So there's a lot of questions about, Aaron Glenn and Aaron Rodgers, which we'll get into, which was very impressive. But first and foremost, we got to talk about this. You see the quote? You see it on your screen, folks. You see it on your screen. Let's hear it. Hype me up, AG. Hype me up.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges. But with challenges becomes opportunity, gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this.
You hear that in the background? Ooh, someone was impressed. I mean, the reason why that is awesome is for a lot of reasons. Because you have to embrace what it means to be a New York Jet. He understands what it means to be a Jet. He understands the amount of pressure to become the Jets head coach, because there's not a team in the NFL like the Jets. Seriously. There's nobody that has the bigger market like the Jets, no one that has a 14-year playoff drought. And by the way, there's no one in the NFL like the Jets in a negative way. And the reason I say that is the Jets seem like the most difficult to figure out how to win. And he wanted this job. He embraces what it means to be part of this organization. He had nothing but glowing things to say about the Johnsons, Woody Johnson, Christopher Johnson, and they gave him the opportunity. And I feel like his ability to take that and kind of win the fan base over just with his sense of poise, his sense of demeanor, his confidence in himself really moved me, because I think that's important when you talk to these coaches in the initial press conference. Does he have confidence? Is he stuttering words? Does he believe what he's talking about? Is he putting on a facade? Like, no, he believes everything that he's preaching right here. And I think that is really, really awesome. Another thing that Aaron Glenn said, they asked him a question like, oh, Bill Parcells. He's like, that's Bill Parcells. I'm Aaron Glenn. Oof. I mean, what the? This guy also asked about Aaron Rodgers over and over and over again. This is not about Aaron Rodgers. This is about the roster. Dude, we're talking about someone that is just built for this job, because he dealt with the New York media the best I've ever seen any Jet coach I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying that. We've never seen a coach since Rex Ryan, I would say, test the New York media. Todd Bowles was stale, didn't have anything. Adam Gase was just a nightmare. And then Saleh was just like the nice guy. But Aaron Glenn is kind of embracing that. He's not going to get tested. He's not going to let the New York media get a quote out of him. They asked him so many times about Aaron Rodgers. He was prepared for the answer, said the same thing over and over and over again. And he said to the media, you're not getting me. Keep trying. You're not getting me. We need a coach that does that. We need a coach that embraces the media, because this is a opportunity of a lifetime for him. And I can argue the media is a big reason why the New York Jets have been not successful for a long time. So really cool to see him be able to go up against the media like that, in my opinion. So let's listen to some more Aaron Glenn.
Will Aaron Rodgers be your quarterback?
You're going to continue to ask me the same question and get the same answer. We're still in evaluation mode. So for anybody else going to ask that, I'm going to give you the same answer. So don't waste your time. We're clear.
Well, let's answer that. What do you look for in a quarterback? Like, what's an Aaron Glenn quarterback?
A winner. A winner. Mental and physical toughness. When you talk about that, you're not going to get me.
Well, let me ask you this. Parcells, I know you guys are close. He always
That's
said,
Parcells.
Okay.
I'm Aaron Glenn.
Okay, so you don't...
That's Parcells. I'm Aaron Glenn.
I mean, are you kidding me, bro? That is awesome. He just silenced Rich Cimini. I've never seen Rich Cimini of ESPN be silenced like that. Rich, I have so much respect for. I know some people have mixed feelings about Rich Cimini, ESPN reporter, but I've never seen Rich gets silenced like that by a coach. And I have nothing but respect for Rich. I actually love his work. I think he does a tremendous job covering the Jets. And I know that he says things that are negative and drives the fans nuts. That's his job. I get that. But Rich knows what he's doing. And he was trying to get Aaron Glenn fired up. And boy, he got the most out of that. I mean, Aaron Glenn, first of all, him bringing up Bill Parcells and saying, that's Bill Parcells, I'm Aaron Glenn. Don't put me in the same category as Parcells. I'm not him. That's just phenomenal. It really, really is. I mean, you talk about asking about Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to keep hearing this question. I already gave you the answer. I'm not going to keep hearing this. This is, oh my God. Fire me up. I want to yell, but I don't want to, disturb you guys. So I definitely want to bring on my boy, Dose of Dion. Do you guys want my boy, Dose of Dion, to come on here? He's a Lions content creator. He's here, like in person. I can literally bring him on the show, hand him a mic, because he would have some good insight on Aaron Glenn and what to expect from him, because he actually had something interesting to say to me that I'll let him speak on it. I'm not going to speak for him. There's a lot of interesting things to talk about, bro. There really, really is a lot of interesting things to talk about. Now, let's hear from Darren Mougey a little bit. Let's hear from Darren Mougey, our brand new general manager.
And there is not a better leader for this team than AG. And I want to tell a story. I got the opportunity a few years ago. We were going through a head coaching search in Denver with the Broncos, and we interviewed AG. And at the end of the interview, I'd ask the candidates, I'd say, so when we get in that first team meeting, what's that message going to be? What's it going to sound like? What's it going to look like? And most of the candidates would kind of just talk about their philosophies or something. And AG said, you want me to do it? And I said, well, if you're comfortable, let's see it. Let's do it. So he pushed back. He sat up, and he delivered a powerful message. Like when he finished, we're all kind of looking around like, wow. And as we went on through the search, because he was one of the first guys we interviewed in that search, we kept going back to it like, damn, AG killed that thing. Like, that was pretty good. We hadn't seen that. Fast forward a few years later, Thursday, I'm sitting in his office and we're talking, and instantly I'm feeling that again, that passion, the passion for the game, the passion and the care for the players, the fans, his football acumen. It was instant. We got to talking about this Jets team and the vision and the franchise, and we were in lockstep right out the gate. Same vision. We were speaking the same language. So I can't wait to work this partnership and bring the Super Bowl back to the New York Jets.
I mean, guys, that is exactly what you want to hear from a GM. That story, by the way, of Aaron Glenn and our new GM is pretty cool. The fact that Aaron Glenn's like, oh, yeah, look, this is how I will portray my first, riled up speech to my team, and he interacted with it, and it was that moving by the Denver Broncos, which is awesome, right? So there's a lot of positives to take away from this, but I want to bring on somebody that lived through, as a fan, Aaron Glenn being part of the turnaround of the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell comes in, hires Aaron Glenn as a defensive coordinator, and he turns a defense that was not great into something that was actually a winner. So let's introduce my boy, Dose of Dion. Let's go, baby. Dose of Dion. Everybody welcome Dose of Dion to the chat right now. Come on.
Yo.
What's going on, baby? Welcome.
This is one of the cleaner setups, Richie.
Come on, man. We don't
Gotta
mess
be
around.
honest, man. You wouldn't know that you're on the road looking at this.
Yeah, right? Listen, if you guys don't know who Dose of Dion is, first of all, go subscribe to his YouTube channel. It's Dose of Dion 2.0, right?
Yep.
What do you do on your channel? Obviously, Detroit Lions content or what? Let the people know.
Yeah, a lot of inappropriate things. No, we that's it, man. Just Detroit Lions content, and as Richie's probably already told you, Senior Bowl's on the way, so a lot of draft stuff.
Lot of draft stuff. So he's also, fun thing about Dose of Dion, he is the Detroit Lions creator in Roundtable Sports. So he represents Detroit for the NFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays. And he's also a member of the first ever Roundtable Sports draft show on the Roundtable Sports channel, Draftaholic. So we're going to get a lot of draft talk, a lot of things, but we definitely want to focus in on Aaron Glenn because Aaron Glenn has won the fan base over, Dion. So what can you tell Jets fans? What can you expect? What should we expect as Jets fans from AG?
Man, I think it's going to be a beautiful fit. For me, I think it's going to be a beautiful fit. I think what you can expect from AG is when we lost Glenn, like we lost Ben and Aaron Glenn, but Aaron Glenn was like it felt like part of the Lions was gone. Like part of the Lions kind of died, it felt like a little bit right there. That's what he meant to the team. I mean, if there's anybody as close to what Dan Campbell meant to what they were trying to build and the culture they were trying to create, it was Aaron Glenn. So I think you're immediately going to gain that. Like the pressers and all this, like he's fired up kind of guy. We've all seen the Hard Knocks clips. I know you guys have been reposting them like crazy. That's Aaron Glenn. That's what he's been ever since he's gotten here. He's been fired up at camp ever since he's gotten here. He's brought that kind of energy of just competition. So I would expect immediately there's going to be competition. I love all the the Aaron Rodgers stuff because nothing's going to be like given, with this, and nothing's going to be given. And here's the biggest thing that I think is most important about Glenn. It's going to translate well because as a player, he puts his trust in players to make the plays, meaning like he's going to give them freedom on the field. It's not going to be like, here's the set call. We have to run this. You're in a bad spot. That's on me. He's going to allow guys to make those adjustments. And there's been different times throughout the Lions' tenure where they would point out like when things would go wrong there. But there's also so much good. And he, maybe to a fault at times, I thought was overconfident in what he had. Yeah. But with what the Jets have, I think it's going to translate awesome.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that because we were talking before I went live, and I'm like, bro, I've never seen a coach in my life embrace the Jets with this confident energy. And he said immediately, like, yeah, he's overconfident sometimes. It could be something that hurt him a little bit. So do you think his overconfidence, in my opinion, I think it's exactly what the Jets need is somebody with that confidence. But you said as a DC for the Lions, sometimes it was a negative, or how would you put that?
Well, I think you look at it from the same perspective I do as a Lions fan. Like where the Lions were at, we needed someone that was like overly optimistic, that was going to pull a team that's been in the gutter forever, like out of it. How do you have to have a coach that's like that just believes it's going to happen. That's what he's going to bring. So I think it's going to translate well long-term because he's always going to instill that belief. What I think translates better though immediately is where the Lions were at versus where the Jets are at personnel-wise. He's going to step in and he's going to trust the young guys and make them quickly become the leaders of the team. So you think that, your Jermaine Johnsons, your cornerbacks, like they'll be so embraced that they'll love it because they'll have so much freedom. And I think that's going to translate really well. And I think some of the issues that we had just won't be the same. Like our cornerbacks, when we had issues like that was, hey, we have Jerry Jacobs outside corner and Jeff Okudah opposite. Like I like those guys, but it's not what you guys have going on. Completely different situation. So I think it's fantastic. I think the Jets need it just like the Lions needed it. And if there's a guy on that staff that I believe brings similar things to Campbell, I think it's Aaron Glenn.
Well, I would love our version of Dan Campbell. I think every Jets fan would sign up for that. And let's just play this again because this was Aaron Glenn today that got the entire internet hyped up. Not just Jets fans, but the entire internet's rallying around this.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges. But with challenges becomes opportunity, gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this.
I mean, you hear in the background, they're like, ooh, you know what I mean? Smells a bar he just dropped. I mean, what? So this guy come out here and just embrace it like that? Damn.
You got me fired up, bro. That was hype, bro. I missed that dude, man. Like, for real, dog. That was him, bro. And I mean, you would see the things on the sideline of him, like, chilling off to the side, like, when they had a good series. But it was just because they came in so confident about who exactly they were that there was a lot of times where we can get to the schematic side, but there was a lot of, you knew what the Lions were going to bring. It's like when people think about the run game, you knew what it was going to look like defensively. But it was just ultimately as the players came along and it got there and he continued to improve, like he's not stubborn at all. This guy's going to continue to learn new things and try new things, but he's got a foundation he sticks to. And I think that everybody can understand it. And it gets to a point where everybody's playing so fast where even if you know what's happening, they play too fast defensively. We've had that in the red zone. We've been one of the best red zone teams going back over a year. And I think it's a lot of Aaron Glenn. We run the same coverages over and over, but everybody plays so fast because they all understand what's being asked of them. It's awesome.
So did you see this clip of him talking about Aaron Rodgers yet? Because if not, I want to play it for you. Oh, this is perfect. So basically, they asked him a question about, because the big question now, okay, we got our coach, we got our GM. What the heck are the Jets doing at quarterback, right? So he was prepared for this. He knew he was getting these questions, right? And he got asked this multiple times. So this was Aaron Glenn, and I just absolutely love this so much. So listen in.
Will Aaron Rodgers be your quarterback?
You're going to continue to ask me the same question and get the same answer. We're still in evaluation mode. So for anybody else going to ask that, I'm going to give you the same answer. So don't waste your time. We're clear.
Well, let's answer that. What do you look for in a quarterback? Like, what's an Aaron Glenn quarterback?
A winner. A winner. Mental and physical toughness. When you talk about that, you're not going to get me.
Well, let me ask you this. Parcells over, I know you guys. Will Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, why did it cut out? The next part was the best part. They said Parcells this, and he's like, that's Bill Parcells. I'm Aaron Glenn. And I think we got to find that because Dion's got to see that, bro.
Bro, that's fantastic.
I've never
That's
seen somebody this confident in my life, man. I think this is. Yeah, here it is. Shout out Jake Asman for the clip.
Parcells, I know you guys are close. He always
That's
said,
Parcells.
Okay.
I'm Aaron Glenn.
Okay, so you don't.
That's Parcells. I'm Aaron Glenn.
Okay.
I mean, gosh, damn, that's a Hall of Fame coach. He's still close to Bill Parcells to this day, but what's your thoughts of that?
It's his own unique style. I mean, first off, like in just terms of him comparing to Bill Parcells, you got a super chat. You want to hit that? I don't know if you.
Aaron Glenn toughness. Sauce will need to buff up. Ooh, I'm excited. I was going to ask you that exact question about what do you think he's going to do with Sauce. Definitely got to get your thoughts. And then Henny also came in. Bill Parcells' prodigy did things the right way. So I don't know if he played under Bill Parcells as a player. So, and then he still has a connection with Bill Parcells to this day. But then when asked about Bill, he's like, that's Bill. I'm Aaron Glenn.
but I don't think like that, if it rubs people, as some people might think that's like arrogant or whatever, like that's not Glenn. He's laying it out, we just touched on, in terms of the competition aspect. Like, he knows what he wants it to look like, but that Aaron Rodgers, he's going to do everything he can to not make it treated anybody different. And I think the big thing is like, even when you would have that with us, and he would, because he's talking about defense, now he can talk about everybody. But when you talk about defense, like, he had so much trust in his players where if a guy had a down game, but he was out there and people would come at him, it wasn't a response of like, oh man, it's on that guy. It's like, no, we believe in that player. So there's always, he believes in what he's putting on the field. He believes in himself. And I think the reason for that is everything he does in the offseason, there's always something that he comes back with that's different. You know what it's going to look like, but he's not Parcells because he's evolved. He doesn't look like the same coordinator this year than he did last year. He looked completely different. And he got to the point where it was like, okay, you can see that there's learning steps being taken here, but he's truly getting better and doing different things. So, yeah, he isn't Parcells. He's his own guy because otherwise he would have just been doing everything he's done. He's evolved into his own coach. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great breakdown. And the fact that he said those things just shows you his confidence. Now, I want to ask you more about his scheme, right? We got a super chat, and then we'll get into that because I'm definitely curious to learn more about the scheme. Sanford with a $10 super chat says, love the press conference, but they still need to execute. But he got the Johnsons to leave the players' decision to them is a good start. However, we could use a vice president of football operations. Yeah, I mean, listen, we want more brain powers, but at the end of the day, we got Aaron Glenn and our new GM, Darren Mougey, who are going to be in lockstep, right? And they talked about the Johnsons. They talked about Jaime, who is our active president. My hope is that these guys can just step away and we can let Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey, our new GM, just kind of take over the team because we don't want to become Dallas where Jerry Jones has his fingerprints and everything. And I felt like the Johnsons, Woody started to do that a little bit. I'm starting getting flashes. I was like, yo, Woody, chill out, bro. And you got Brick Johnson saying, but that is Madden rating is not good enough. Like, dude, I don't know what's real anymore. But boy, do we need someone that actually has some type of poise and confidence to get that out. So Sanford, thank you for the super chat. And of course, I'm not going to say a press conference wins over, we need to win football games. That's really what matters, not a press conference. But it's definitely starting off on the right foot. Again, Sanford, thank you for the $10 super chat. Much appreciated. So break down the scheme. Is it a 3-4, 4-3? I think I know these, but I just want to lay out the framework. And I feel like what he showed me against Minnesota in that final game of the season was just a masterpiece. So what is his philosophy? I've heard he's more of an aggressive play caller than most, blitzes, man coverage. What can you tell? What can we expect? And what players on the Jets defense you think are going to get the most out of Aaron Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, first off, the Minnesota game was fantastic because the Minnesota game tells a lot because it wasn't just him playing man and just like, oh, that's Aaron Glenn. You just matched up well. What he did in that game was something that no one really dared to do all season, including the Lions, until they got to that second time around. And I thought it was a bold because it was, let's get outside of what teams try to do. Like, there was advanced stats put out before that game of teams can't play man against Minnesota. Like, just don't do it. And he goes into that game, and I think what he did is he overcomplicated what Sam Darnold was seeing by simplifying it for the defense. I think that's the best way to put it because you think of, like, confusing a quarterback. I think we always think about, like, man, there's got to be so much movement going on. He doesn't know what he's seeing. I think for Sam Darnold, it's the opposite. He's like, we got to play fast and throw off timing. So how we're going to do that? We're just going to constantly play man coverage. But the difference is we're just going to have our safeties moving. So you didn't know who was getting help. So it constantly put him in a spot where it's like, okay, there's not going to be just a window to throw in for Sam. Now I have to anticipate who's going to win their matchup. The problem is I don't know pre and post snap who's getting doubled and who's not. And I thought he constantly just kept throwing that back at Darnold. And eventually he had a little wrinkle in there. But that is Aaron Glenn. Like he's always been man heavy. He's always been probably top 10 in the league every single season, maybe one time outside of it. Typically he's going to play a lot of man coverage. I think the big thing for him though is that again, it's evolved. Like you talk about what the front's going to look like. Again, they like to play kind of the old school 4-down lineman, 4-2-5 looks back to their nickel, which is typically what they lean into. But I think the key here is that this has changed. You know, when he first got there, we came in with Romeo Okwara, Trey Flowers, and it was like, let's stand these dudes up. And it was like, all right, this is kind of weird. But that's what he had to deal with. And Aaron Glenn has been so good. There's so many things Aaron Glenn has done well that people overlook. Think about our position. If you know the Lions, you'll know this. Brian Branch is playing safety for us now. He's one of the best at safety. He wasn't drafted as safety. He was drafted as a nickel. Drafted as a slot corner. Iffy Malfano was drafted as a corner. They put him at safety. Jack Campbell, they were playing on the ball his first year. Now he's playing Mike Backer. First year they drafted Derek Barnes. They said, that's our Mike Backer. Look back a couple years later, he's at his best on the ball. They've done that with so many of their starters where it's like, okay, this is what we have. Let's just find a way to make it work. And I think that's what makes Glenn so adaptable. And I think it's better for a head coach. Like if I have a head coach, I understand you have a vision of how you want it to look. But overall, I think you have to be adaptable if you're going to speed things up. Because if you have it in a spot where it's like, well, I need these guys to make this work, you're gonna fall behind because you're constantly looking for, we have to replace this for that position. And I think him being under Brad, they've kind of instilled that that's not how we're going to do things. I'm going to draft the players. You guys draft pretty darn well from what I know. And it's just like we have to find a defense that's going to make that work. So to give you an example, when Amani Oruwariye was our top corner, played a lot more cover 3. Dude was long. We let him sit on top of things. As soon as he was out of the mix, it was like Jerry Jacobs got to press dudes. And that was the difference. It was like
that's interesting because now that makes me want to ask about Sauce. You know, Sauce Gardner coming off a down year, his first 2 seasons in the NFL, first team All-Pro, looked at as one of the best corners in the league. Detroit kid, of course, as you know. Do you think the addition of Aaron Glenn is going to turn him into more of a man coverage? Because with Salah, we ran more zone than ever. But we see Sauce being he's that long, lengthy guy. He can drop back and cover 3. I feel like we haven't seen enough man coverage, and he's elite in man coverage, in my opinion. So with a guy like Sauce Gardner, do you think we're going to get the most out of him with a philosophy like Aaron Glenn? And also, I don't know if you know this, AG will not be calling plays, right? So he's not going to be the play caller like he was for Detroit. The rumor is going to be Steve Wilkes is going to be our DC. Not official yet. Head coaching experience, veteran. That's the rumor to be our defensive coordinator. But as of now, nothing's official. So what are your thoughts of Sauce Gardner and how he fits into the scheme of Aaron Glenn?
Yeah, first off, I love that you saying that because I think that's the point. It's like Aaron Glenn's not trying to make it his; he's trying to make it the Jets, and he's like, "What's going to be the best for what the Jets have right now?" So, as for Sauce Gardner, I remember you were live one time, and I was like, "Bro, bring Sauce over here." That dude's a dog, bro, and it's like he's gonna find that he'll lean into his best player, which is gonna be Sauce probably.
Want me to fix your headset?
I mean, you could. I mean, look. It looks like I did it on purpose. I don't know how to put it on.
It is a funky headset. There you go. Put that on.
Oh, you made that look too easy. Okay, I'm disappointed.
There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Feels better, huh?
Yeah, it feels fantastic. No, man, here's what I'd say. Specifically, lean on this. You want to talk about man coverage? Third down. If there's one thing that's been constant ever since he's been there, is third down, even red zone to a point, though it's not man, it's just kind of the same coverages over and over. Third down in red zone are very consistent. It's like I know what the look's going to be. If it's third down, expect man. Expect single high safety, and he's either going to blitz or he's going to drop a couple on underneath because he'll want to deal with Josh Allen or something. Like there's those little, I think, quirks within his defense that he's always had. Like
it's a 4-3 base, right?
It's 4-3 base now. It wasn't when he first got there because of what we had. They kind of leaned into more of a 3-4 because of the pieces that we had. Because it was an overlap from Patricia, so it's like, why do we make? And he was with the Patriots, different scheme. But yeah, for the majority,
Salah's all 4-3, so that you would assume they're going to keep it.
I would assume so. I mean, you guys were doing the wide 9 thing, right?
Yeah, we started that.
I would assume that's going to be similar. I mean, I don't know, like, your whole defensive end situation. I know you have Jermaine. Who's opposite of Jermaine?
Will McDonald, year 2, he had 10-plus sacks.
Yeah, Will McDonald's
he was a first-round pick.
Bro. I forgot about Will.
Elite spin move. I mean, there's a point when, Hutchinson went down. I was like, all right, Will McDonald's going to lead leading sacks now.
Yeah,
didn't end up happening, but
I loved Will, bro. Will was a dog out of college. No, man, I don't know how much that'll actually tweak. Then I don't know. Maybe you'll get some different alignment. Maybe they'll push Jermaine in a little bit more. But you got to allow Will to play as wide as possible. I mean,
and with Jermaine coming off an Achilles, and of course we got Quinnen Williams up the middle.
Crazy.
And our linebackers is an interesting conversation because C.J. Mosley, who's the captain, he's dealing with a neck injury. We're assuming he may be done. Like he's up there in age. Can we rely on him to stay healthy? Quincy Williams, who's been a beast, but our rising player at linebacker who actually finished top 5 in the NFL in total tackles is a homegrown man out of Auburn that the Jets drafted, Jamie and Sherwood.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He was drafted as a safety. We transitioned him to a linebacker. He was sitting in the shadow of CJ Mosley, and now he's a free agent. So he may not be back. And I'm scared that someone else is going to take him. Jeff Ulbrich got hired in Atlanta to be their DC. The Falcons can easily steal away Jamie and Sherwood. And I know you guys got a studs linebacker, Alex Alizoni.
We got a couple good ones.
He's a dog.
Duracell, yeah. Alex Anzalone's a dog. We got Jack Campbell. We got a couple good ones.
So I feel like, and the Jets also have like not one starting safety. So we have to go out there and, and maybe they bring back Jalen Mills, who's a veteran. So like when it comes to Aaron Glenn's defense, which position groups do you feel like is the most important? Because I'll give you an example. Saleh, it was all the front four. It's like you barely blitz, you rush 4, and you drop 7 in coverage. And if you win out with the 4-man pass rush, you're just a nightmare to score against. But that doesn't feel like it's the same philosophy of Aaron Glenn, where it's a little bit more man, a little bit more blitz.
Yeah, I would say most important probably is got to be corner. Like immediately day one is going to be the corner. I mean, it's perfect for you guys. That's going to matter because to his aggressive nature, he's going to leave those guys on islands. Like regardless of what coverage you're in, I'm assuming he's still going to get back to his man coverage tendencies. So he's going to lead those dudes on islands more than anything. The key is you're talking about linebacker. It sounds like it's maybe a little bit of a concern. Linebacker is the one position on this defense that had more movement than any position. And at the end of it, where we are now, it's one of our strongest positional groups as a team. That's the one spot where if there's going to be movement, if there's going to be guys jumping around in different spots, it'll probably be linebacker where there's a ton going on. But safety position, I would keep an eye. You guys are talking draft stuff. Keep an eye on corners too. I'm just saying, don't just think safeties. Think guys that play corner that could have a skill set to get there.
Will Johnson falls to 7. Would AG want to get him and pair him up with Sauce, and we have Sauce and Johnson? Or is that like too nuts? I mean, because I watch this tape and I'm like, dude, with him and Sauce on, because we got DJ Reed, who's entering free agency. We're all assuming he's gone. So we have a big hole at CB2.
Dude, I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. My question would be, and I don't know that it's worth the 7th pick in the draft. Honestly, yeah, probably because of positional value. If they were going to go defense, they'd probably go corner at that spot. I usually not going to get a linebacker at 7. That doesn't really happen often. I'm thinking interior defense line with Quinn and probably wouldn't double dip on that. Dude, we need help around
Quinnen though. We had no DTs around.
Y'all have
Quinnen.
y'all play 2 DTs then. Who's your other DT? But is there guy 7
they're all gone. Javon Kinlaw is free agent. He's gone.
Okay,
Solomon Thomas, he's trash. I mean, we got so many defensive tackles that we need help around, and we don't have any beef. We don't have any big boys to stop the run. That's our biggest issue. We have pass rushers inside, but nobody to kind of stop the run.
Bro, I think this is going to work perfectly the more you're explaining.
Mason Graham?
Mason Graham would be fantastic. And if he doesn't, but here's the thing, if he doesn't want to go top pick, if you go back and you look at the Lions and look at when their run defense was at its best statistically, go look at who the nose tackles were that time. Like everybody in here would have no idea who these guys are. It was Benito Jones starting nose tackle. It was Isaiah Buggs.
Isaiah
Buggs, bro.
That's not a real name. He's made that up.
Isaiah Buggs.
That's not a real name.
Yo, Chad doesn't know Isaiah. You got to trouble
Isaiah Buggs.
Isaiah Buggs, bro. Like that's
Aaron Glenn had Isaiah Buggs looking all pro at times.
Isaiah Buggs, Benito Jones, bro. We got Benito from TD's Dolphins, bro. He played about 3 snaps, came here, and he was a dog. That nose tackle was our weakest position by far. But yeah, we had dudes there because it was what they were asking of him, they just kind of played to. Benito could get upfield. They're like, all right, let's go. And then you'd have Buggs, and he would handle a couple gaps. It was all right, they're not giving you any kind of pass rush. So if you give me some of that, okay, now we got something because they weren't giving you anything. But at least with Glenn, that hasn't really been a emphasis, is to get a nose tackle that gets after it. But if there's a spot that they've been able to just completely overlook and have success, it's nose tackle. So I think corners, if you have great corners, you're going to be in a great spot because he'll try to clear everything else up.
Sauce will be back to all pro ways in this upcoming season. Are there any pending free agents on the Lions defense that we're going to steal from you?
Let's hope not. I'm trying.
Usually that's what happens, right?
There's a couple I'm nervous about, man. I don't know if for your defense, a guy like Derek Barnes would make sense because I think the fit would be kind of weird. But Levi Onwuzurike, who can play D tackle and play DN, you're talking about all these D linemen.
He's a jet.
I don't even say I love me some Levi. Levi's got a lot of injury history. First year he played this year, top pick a second round a couple years ago. Dude was awesome this year, and he did what you're talking about you would need. He was the guy that could handle multiple gaps. He would move people around the inside. He showed so much flexibility. That and then our safety, Ife Melifano, who's also set to be a free agent this year too. Which, if you're looking for safety help.
We need safety help.
You got one of the most unique safety talents. If you're gonna blitz, you blitz Iffy. He's 6'3". That's what he does. So if either of those guys hit, I think both those could be interesting.
So, what do you think the timeline should be from Jets fans in terms of expectations with Aaron Glenn? Because I want to make sure us Jets fans tame our expectations this upcoming season. Today is a day to be excited.
Yeah,
It's a new beginning, brand new press conference. I mean, can you compare Aaron? Before I ask you that question, something else came in my brain. Can you compare Aaron Glenn's viral moment at the press conference to Dan Campbell's viral moment of the kneecaps? Because that was that was insane. So, like, this is Aaron Glenn's introductory conference. We all remember what Dan Campbell said. Like, is there any similarities and differences you see?
I think there's similarities. I think there's similarities in the way that he's going to invite the team to be like. I think it has to come in with a different mindset. And I think you posted a clip. Someone posted it where he gave that hard knock speech about like, yo, y'all didn't lose in college, basically. That's the kind of thing. That fired me up. That was my favorite one, dude.
He knew like everybody. Yeah, remember 2012? He knows every single person in that building.
Brock Wright, get out of here, dude. We never know about Brock Wright. He did it for that reason alone. But it was perfect. I think for that reason, it's just going to change the mindset of everybody there. Like all this, somebody wants out Garrett Wilson. Like that stuff's going to die immediately. I'm telling you, either he's going to be gone or he's going to die.
Wait, say that to the people. So Garrett Wilson's not going anywhere because we have Jets fans worried about that.
If he's on the team by the time the season starts, he's going nowhere. Never my guess. That guy's not going anywhere because Aaron Glenn's not going to let that happen. When the guys are there, they're going to be invested just like they were with Campbell. I think that's the consistency that you have between the two. Is you have like two guys that are just because they're going to almost make it so if things don't go right, the players feel like it was on them, not the other way around. Because they're going to put so much on their plate and they're going to give them all of those opportunities. And I think that especially from a defense perspective, like if you were a defensive player, you want things to be aggressive, man. You want to blitz. You want to play man if you're a corner. Like you want to, I'm shutting this down, get the ball out fast. That's the kind of thing that I think you want as a defense player. It's a different mindset. Aaron Glenn's going to bring that immediately. So at least from a buy-in, anybody that's on the roster is going to be happy they're there. Wins? How many did y'all win last year?
5.
You know what?
What should expectations be year one? Campbell he started the season bad
won 3
and then
games in our first year.
With Campbell? 3?
We won 3. We won 3, 13-1.
All right, guys. If Glenn wins 3 games, don't you dare say fire Glenn after year one.
Started a solid 0-10 too.
Oh,
yeah. We had a rough start, bro. Now next year we got out 1-6. Thought we were gonna fire him. They didn't, and then they finished 9-8 that season.
And you know what? You know what it just reminds me of? Did you hear what Aaron Rodgers had to say on the Pat McAfee show about Dan Campbell, the Lions, a few months ago?
Maybe. What did he say?
So basically. And it was about the whole notion of like Jets owners and when the Jets were getting really loud in terms of like all these stories. And he referred to that if you have external pressure, but you have internal belief, magical things can happen. And he brought up the Lions as an example because year one was a mess, 3 wins. And then halfway into the season, they're 1-6?
1-6, yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers mentioned that the ownership could have listened to the outside world and said, fire these guys. But instead, he publicly went out there, your owner, and endorsed Dan Campbell and Holmes and say, these are our guys. And that kind of flipped a switch. And for the Detroit Lions, where Dan Campbell knew his job was safe, he didn't have to worry about it, and he felt like he had the backings of the people who hired him, which eventually made things click and made things all go. And that's something that I feel like is really awesome to bring back to this light now, because now you have an owner with the Jets that is instilling this confidence that hopefully that can carry in. And that's why we can't really be too panicky. You need to have internal and external support.
The support from the top is going to be everything. It's going to be everything for this, and it was for us, as you pointed out. Sheila stepping out and doing that changed everything for the Lions organization because it was all going to start at the top, and it always needed to. And the difference was we started winning once she did that. I would say the thing to keep an eye on with Glenn is this. For an expectations of like when are the wins going to come, just like watch the first few weeks and number one, see how aggressive it is. I don't know what your schedule looks like, but the first time you play a team, you're like, that's one of the better teams in football. Watch how aggressive the game plan is. Watch him be aggressive on 4th down. Maybe he throws a trick play. Like there's going to be a lot of extra that he's throwing at them just because he wants to steal one. And then there's going to be the aspect of how many of these games do they lose, but they're right there. Because that was the Lions thing. They lost every single close game starting in year one. And you'd have a couple where it was like, all right, occasionally we get blown out, like we weren't prepared. And again, that goes back to the schematics, and that's where Glenn has just slowly gotten better and better. He's tried new things. Guys have had answers, and he's responded. And that's going to happen. But in terms of like, as soon as you see that top team, week 3, whoever it is, just watch how aggressive it's going to be because they're going to be fighting in every game. If it's anything like Campbell, they'll be fighting in every game. They'll play a specific style that makes it work. And it's not going to be an approach of like what makes this not look ugly. It's going to be how do we win the football game? We're okay if we lose 40-0, but it's going to be a football game because we're going to throw everything we have to beat this team, even if it doesn't feel like that as a fan. Like it changed. This is a great example. I went to the Lions opener with Campbell first game. We were down 41-17 to the Niners. I think it was 41-17 or 38-10. And he was on our own side of the field, it was like a 4th down and 8, and he went for it in the third quarter. And I was like, I love this dude. Bro, that's what I would do on Madden.
Is that going to carry over?
I think
going for a 4th down?
Bro, like it was fantastic though, because to me that was like crossing the line of like, bro, we're not playing let's make it close and look good on the scoreboard. That way people think we're going the right direction. Bro, we're winning or losing. There's no in between. So every time we lost close games, there was no one that was like, it's okay that we're losing close games. It's like, no, bro, you let this expectation, we need to win. And I think the players gravitate towards that expectation because there is no in between. We're not making things look close and having fun. It's like, we played pretty good this week. No, Either you win or you lose. So I think you'll get that immediately.
Well, that's great insight. If you guys are just tuning in and don't know who's on the show right now, this is Dose of Dion 2.0, Detroit Lions creator, lifelong Lions fan. So it's really good insight to see, he firsthand witnessed Aaron Glenn and, of course, Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson change the entire organization. And I admire the Lions because I always... maybe a little jealous, because I thought the Jets and Lions had something special together. And you guys just started like crawling up to new heights, and we're still down here looking up like, hey, remember when we were together in this dysfunctional mess? And now we bring over one of you guys. So now we're kind of in lockstep, and we'll see you in the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, we're feeding the delusion. Folks, definitely go check out Dose of Dion's content. I interrupted him studying film on these prospects at the Senior Bowl, so I'll let you get back to it, bro.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Shout out Dose of Dion 2.0. Everybody go subscribe to his channel. Let's go. Roundtable Sports. Check him out on the NFC North Roundtable Wednesdays as well. My guy. All right, folks. I want to get more into some of the chat, get interactive with you guys. Big shout out to Dose of Dion for hopping on and give us his thoughts. It's good insight, man. It's good to hear from someone with experience and have actual knowledge of Aaron Glenn as your defensive coordinator. So I thought that was a lot of fun. Let me know if you guys enjoyed that segment. And it's funny because I reached out to Dose of Dion last week. I'm like, hey, bro, can you come on my channel? I want to pick your brain about AG. And then I realized oh, wait, we're going to be in person at the Senior Bowl. Let's just wait to do it in person. And here we are. Worked out perfectly. It worked out perfectly, man. Hit that like button, folks. If you're enjoying the show here, we're live at the Senior Bowl. Well, not at the Senior Bowl, but you know what I mean. I'm in Mobile, Alabama right now. Getting ready for the Senior Bowl. Speaking of it, I'm also going to be at the Super Bowl. We're going to be at the Super Bowl, folks. You got that right. I want to get your guys' thoughts of the Super Bowl. Who do you got? The odds on BetUS are as follows. You got the Kansas City Chiefs as, are they favorites? Yes, they are. The Chiefs 1-point betting favorites in this game in the Super Bowl. Let me know in the chat right now. Who do you guys got? Who do you guys got? All right. I haven't had my pick yet, so I'm not going to give you guys my pick. I did pick the Chiefs over the Bills, and I did pick the Eagles over the Commanders. Yes, 2 favorites, so it's not like I'm a wizard, but I did not buy into the hype of the other 2 teams. Big time shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this show. 150% bonus on your first deposit and 125% on your next 2, up to $2,000. Big shout out to BetUS, as always, sponsoring the show. All right. I am here in Alabama to cover the Senior Bowl. I'm wearing my credentials right now. Big shout out to you guys. Seeing my name, Richie Malora, Roundtable Sports, for the Senior Bowl is pretty unreal. Pretty unreal. So appreciate you guys. Did Jack buy in yet, or is he still broken? Great question, Henny. I was out to dinner for my boy's birthday over the weekend, and I was with Jack. And, you guys should just listen to Jack talk about the Jets off the mic. You guys would crack up, bro. He's hilarious. He's cautiously optimistic. He was excited for the press conference. I didn't get to hear from him his thoughts about the presser. But he's broken, man. He really is. But he's excited. He's just not going to let his expectations get high. That's really where he's at, Henny. We got to get him on the show to get his thoughts, because you guys know my boy Jack is one of a kind. I love him to death. Yeah, man. So I'm excited. I think Jets fans should be excited. And I feel like at the end of the day, we should come together and rally around this day as an opportunity to be excited, an opportunity to welcome in new beginnings, welcome in Aaron Glenn as one of our own, Darren Mougey as one of our own, and just keep the faith, man. Keep the whole hype, keep the energy. And I feel like, don't let any other fan base come in here and be like, oh, bro, the Jets suck. Another coach that's going to fail. Like, let them say those things. Just don't let it get to you. That's all I'm saying, Jets fans. Like, they're going to talk. They're going to say that we're still trash. And at the end of the day, we are still trash until proven otherwise. We got to go on the field as a Jets team and win football games. Winning cures all. And I got nothing but confidence and belief in this. And I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to expect a winner in year one in terms of like winning 10, 11, 12 games. I think it's possible with the talent we have on the roster, but there's so much that's going to happen on this roster in these next few weeks and months leading into the draft before we can really evaluate the direction of this football team. So I'm excited about it. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Big time shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this show and everybody tuning into this show. Hit that like button on your way out, folks. Love you all so much. I'm going to be at the Senior Bowl practice tomorrow, so definitely follow me over on socials. I will see you guys next time. All right, let's go. All right, I'm excited. You guys should be excited, and let's get into it. Peace out, everybody. Much love.